Fish don't fry in the kitchen.
Death Race 2000 was produced by Roger Corman and directed by Paul Bartel.
But also, Death Race 2000, 1975 is the year it's made. So
There's another Death Race 2000?
No, I'm just saying,
Okay.
1975 is the year where they're making a movie about the year 2000.
They're looking a
movies.
quarter century ahead.
Right. Thinking in
And
25
heck, they
years.
do. Not that bad.
No, it's pretty accurate for the year 2000 from what I remember.
The year 2000. America is a vast speedway. People line the streets to witness the greatest drivers on earth in a race from sea to shining sea.
This is a death race.
You finish first, or not at all. Death Race 2000.
Death Race 2000 was produced by Roger Corman and directed by Paul Bartel. Paul Bartel, you might remember from the opening of Chopping Mall, where he played one of the concerned store owners in the opening during the Killbot presentation.
I don't know, Mary. The one in the middle has an unpleasantly ethnic quality.
He also directed the cult classic Eating Raoul. The backstory to Death Race 2000 is that Roger Corman wanted to make a futuristic action sports film to take advantage of the publicity surrounding the film Rollerball, 1975.
In all honesty, the themes are very Rollerball-esque. Like, watching, I was like, this is just Rollerball. But
It's all kind of like a spoof of Rollerball.
yeah, almost.
Yeah. Corman initially wanted Peter Fonda to star in the film, but he read the script.
But he read his guitar with it.
Yeah, that's it. So instead, David Carradine was cast. David Carradine at the time was pretty much well known for starring in the show Kung Fu.
Right.
Yeah.
And pretty much just that, I think, at that point. He was pretty young still. And
I think that's still his biggest credit, that and like Kill Bill.
Yeah, right.
He's been in lots of films.
Little bits parts.
So, I guess Carradine basically took this role because he wanted to transition into features. And he got himself a deal that included 10% of the film's gross, which is pretty smart.
That is pretty smart.
I think Death Race 2000 holds up pretty well for a film that's close to 50 years old.
Mm.
It's still fun to watch. The dystopian future the film creates is pretty cartoony.
Yeah, it is. Yes. I mean, the movie starts out, not to get too deep into it, but it's just like a wide angle lens of like like the inside of a trumpet,
Yeah.
and then everything's just kind of weird, and you already know that with the first shot that something's amiss.
There's a wacky sequence of the band that starts out with like shots are like out of focus. You can see the camera guy in the fucking
Oh, do you? In the reflection,
oboe or
yeah,
whatever.
sure.
Yeah. For a low budget movie like this, it's really not bad production wise. There's a lot of dark humor in the film. The satire is a little bit thin, but there's enough substance that you can still kind of enjoy all the head crushing and bright red 70s blood and still feel like you're watching something that's not completely dumbed down.
Sure.
You
think it's thin? You think it's got thin
Yeah.
satire?
Yeah. I think it's kind of secondary to
more
the,
so than less
So
so
I think
than,
this is the criticism of the movie is that like it's supposed to be like a commentary on like senseless violence in the media, but it's really just senseless violence in the media.
it's the thing it's making fun
Yeah.
of. Okay.
Yeah. But
That's art.
well, it's just because people are stupid and they don't get it. It's good being an intellectual, Russ, and being able to appreciate art for its finer merits, and that's what this podcast is all about. So I'm giving Death Race a thumbs up. I'm giving it 3 stars.
Okay.
I say go watch Death Race. It's on Tubi.
Yep. For now. With commercials. Tubi's got commercials.
It does have commercials.
Can you pay for
but I
it,
don't
Tubi?
mind. No, I think you have to watch with
You have to
commercials.
watch.
Death Race 2000 takes place in a dystopian future where the world economy has crashed, leading to massive civil unrest. The United States government has restructured into a totalitarian regimen that operates under martial law, and to pacify the population, the U.S. government has created the Transcontinental Road Race, where a group of drivers race across the country in high-powered cars, purposefully striking and killing pedestrians for points.
Right. So it's like Grand Theft Auto, it's Carmageddon, it's all
I was hoping you were going to come up with the Johnny Carson. I'm like, it's like a day in L.A. It's like, is we watching Death Race 2000 or are we on the 405?
Yeah. It's too real, Gary.
Yeah.
We need to bring this sports into reality. We need rollerball on reality. We need
rollerball?
the transcontinental
It's kind of like the
race.
XFL, really.
The what?
The XFL.
What's that?
Remember in the early 2000s, the WWE tried starting a football league called the XFL?
I remember with the basketball with the trampolines.
What the f*** was that?
Basketball with trampolines?
Was that a real thing?
Yeah, you don't remember that? Slam ball.
Yeah.
Ball. Yeah, it was just like they had big glass walls and you were inside it. It was a basketball court, but you were bouncing on trampolines the whole way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds dangerous.
Oh, yeah, it looked dangerous as
People
hell.
break
It was
their
pretty
legs.
sweet, yeah.
Remember BattleBots?
Yeah, BattleBots was cool.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in a
I feel like
similar-
BattleBots wasn't cool. It's like you're like, this is gonna be cool, but at the end of the day, all these robots can really do is like two different things.
little plates that get spun up in the air. Yeah.
It's like it could have a hammer, it could have a saw.
Flips you, or it
And the saw
shoves
doesn't
you.
really, none of these things really do anything. It's just a metal box.
I mean, but once you flip a metal box that's got electric components in it, enough times it's gonna break.
I guess
throw
so.
your laptop around, and then
I don't really remember watching it. I just remember it was a thing.
I watched a bunch of it.
Yeah,
it was all right. Again, it was
What
like
happened to it? Why'd it go away?
Who wants to watch robots smash each other?
The 5 drivers in the race all have professional wrestling-like personas and drive appropriately themed cars.
But all their cars look like they were stolen from a carnival, right? They're like
Not very aerodynamic for like something that's such an important race.
It's just like sleek fiberglass bodies on these little. I hear they were built on like VW bugs. And so none of them can really go fast, but they undercrank and overcrank to make the cars seem like they're going fast. But a lot of time they just had to like be pushing those cars down like a hill because it couldn't even do it.
There's a lot of sped up footage in this movie for sure. This reminds me a lot of the 1960s Hanna-Barbera cartoon Wacky Races.
Yes,
and I have to assume that they were kind of aware of that.
It had to have been.
Yeah,
like. I mean, that would have been a show. And again, like we said, prior to the cable box, there was only so many channels.
Yeah.
It's like, England had like 4 channels, 4 BBC channels, and we had like maybe 10. I don't know.
This is made by young people, most likely. So it's probably people that grew up with that cartoon 10 years earlier. Yeah, but it's, the concept is just as satisfying with the addition of nudity and head crushing and...
In fact, maybe even more so.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Snidely Whiplash and his dog Muttley, but that was like the draw of that show.
What the fuck was up? So the dog was like wanted to have sex with him or something?
What?
The dog was like in love with him.
What?
Was always like trying to kiss him and stuff.
Was he?
I think so.
Maybe we watch different
Fucking
shows.
Weird dog, dude.
Wacky Races, huh?
Am I just making this up?
Yeah, I think you read into that.
No, I think the dog was like always trying to molest the bad guy. Yeah.
Oh. Well, maybe I should revisit that show. That's more interesting.
The favorite in the death race is a mysterious masked driver called Frankenstein, who's played by David Carradine. Sylvester Stallone plays Machine Gun Joe Viterbo, who has like a Chicago gangster-themed persona.
His car has 2 Tommy guns out the headlights, and then a big knife as the hood ornament.
Yeah. It's actually probably the coolest looking car.
It's a cool looking. It's so cornball though. Like what you have 2 Tommy and
his pinstriped helmet. And just a very baby-faced young
so
Stallone.
young looking. Yeah.
And this is the type of role that like Stallone would have been stuck playing if he didn't write Rocky.
Think so?
Yeah, he would have been like just a shitty gangster.
Number 2, yeah.
Or like, the guy in I think he was in Lords of Flatbush, or he was in some other movies where he was like a 50s hood. Very similar character. And Mary Warnove plays Calamity Jane, a cowgirl-themed racer.
Yeehaw, she's got bullhorns on her car.
Roberta Collins plays Matilda the Hun, a neo-Nazi, which is probably the boldest choice.
Yeah. Got
as far as characters.
She's got like one that looks like a Nazi plane, and there's like swastika paraphernalia all over.
Yeah. Last of the drivers is Nero the Hero, a Roman gladiator played by Martin Kove, who most will probably recognize as Kreese from The Karate Kid.
Yeah, I was wondering where I saw that dumb guy. He plays like a real dumbass. I don't know if he's. I
think his character trait is that he's vain. He's like into like his looks and shit.
Okay.
But this character actually like kind of makes the most sense for the whole Roman Colosseum.
Yeah, certainly.
On here.
Yeah, Aphrodite. No, not Aphrodite. Who was the guy who was in Love Himself? Narcissus. Narcissus.
Narcissus.
Yes.
Yeah. The Stallone character, Machine Gun Joe, is the last year's second place champion, and he is the most determined of all the racers to defeat Frankenstein.
He wants to win.
And Frankenstein is a national hero. He's like Michael Phelps or Tom Brady, but also kind of like The Undertaker.
Right. Because he's dark, he's broody.
Yeah.
He looks like a gimp version of Darth Vader. He's all sorts of zips so his nipples can come out.
It's kind of like the anti-hero thing, like the character that should be a bad guy, but instead becomes the popular character. And I think that really kind of sums up the appeal. Americans love Frankenstein. Americans love The Undertaker. Mm-hmm. They love Gravedigger, which is basically just The Undertaker in monster truck form.
Yeah.
So,
Monster
Frankenstein...
sweet.
Monster trucks are pretty fucking
monster. Awesome. There's a monster in the name. That's sweet. Yeah.
I mean, if they're trying to guess culture of the early 2000s, I grew up in that time, and my favorite things were monster movies, professional wrestling, and monster trucks.
Sure. Yeah.
So this kind of nails it. Like, if this was a real thing when I was a kid, I would have watched
the hell out of
the Transcontinental Death Race.
And you would have wanted to take part someday.
Yeah.
By the way, do we know if it's an annual sporting event?
It's a yearly race. It's been going on for a while.
Okay.
And, Frankenstein's got a lot of history with it.
Yeah, right. It seems like he's been injured a number of times. They're like, he's had his bones melted down to the core and he's been replaced. And that's why he wears like this big black suit with a big black cape and like a weird helmet with the gimp mouth open. It's because his body's probably all fucked up, He's got...
That's what they lead you to believe.
Exactly,
at first.
But we'll get into that. We'll get into that. In fact, even around his eye is kind of scarred. He's doing this weird thing with his teeth where his teeth are always showing,
So there's a great intro for the Frankenstein character. David Carradine is wheeled out on a gurney, and the film cuts to There's like a great POV shot as like the sheet comes off his face. It cuts to his POV, and it doesn't reveal him. And just like great direction in this scene. This movie does have a couple like impressive directorial flourishes.
Sure.
So you got to kind of give it up for the director.
That sort of thing, yeah.
When the film does finally reveal the protagonist, Frankenstein is basically wearing a gimp suit.
Yep.
He just basically looks like what Kanye West wears now, like as of like the last few months.
Sure. Skin tight zips.
Yeah. It's kind of weird seeing David Carradine in this getup, considering what we now know about his personal life and death.
Oh.
It's like, was this created by a costume designer for the film, or did David Carradine just show up in this and you're like, yeah, you should wear that?
Yeah, you know what? Just wear that.
That works.
This whole thing? Oh, okay.
Yeah. The year after Death Race 2000, Carradine starred as Woody Guthrie in the film Bound for Glory. Rusty's bondage and BDSM jokes just couldn't be any more obvious.
Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
I see. Is that a racing movie as well, or?
No, it's about Woody Guthrie, who's like a folk singer.
And he
so really nothing to do with
choking himself out.
Let's say yes.
Okay,
I'm gonna assume so.
Okay, I mean he's a celebrity. You like choking yourself out.
Yeah. Well, I think Woody Guthrie's like the guy with like this machine kills fascists on his guitar.
Oh, okay, that's cool. He sounds neat.
Yeah.
Fascism sucks.
Yeah, no, you're gonna stop fascism with your fucking acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
How'd that work out, Woody Guthrie?
He had a whole movie made after him, Gary.
Yeah, after that film, David Carradine would go on to star in the small independent film shot in Bangkok called "Hanging with Your Penis Bound in a Closet." Yeah, I think that title sounds awkward because it's translated from the original Thai.
Oh,
bakake,
yeah.
It sounds more correct when you hear it in the native language.
Sure.
Yeah. David Carradine looks like he's wearing a cheap version of the X-Men uniform from the first X-Men movie, which came out in the year 2000. So pretty spot on for a year. He basically has a cheap, shitty 1970s version of that costume, plus a black helmet and face mask with little Frankenstein neck bolts on the helmet.
He's got a cape. And he's got like little bolts.
He does have a cape.
Helmet.
What's the point of a cape when you're driving a car?
I don't know. So you can sit on it?
I guess
maybe if you got... like your seats are too hot leather, you'll like be able to protect yourself from sitting on the hot leather.
Just so if you got to get out of a crash quick, there's something in there that
you can really get caught on it around your neck. Yeah.
The next year, the regulatory agency that was in charge of the death race would make the cape illegal.
Here's the thing too, though. This is 1975. Mm-hmm. Seatbelts.
I didn't even think they wear seatbelts.
I don't think seatbelts was a thing. Nader was like one who really pushed that, and that was in the late.
It was in the 70s.
Yeah, I think it was the 70s, late 70s that they really. It became mandatory to have to put seatbelts into a vehicle.
Frankenstein is paired with a navigator, Annie Smith, played by the lovely Simone Griffith. And I hate to focus on plot holes in a movie like this, Russ, but it doesn't really make sense that this very important driver in this very important race doesn't get to pick his own navigator. It's obviously going to play into the plot.
No, it's just kind of forced upon them.
Yeah.
It did seem weird, like the navigator and driver relationship, right? Because the drivers, they're the celebrity, right? It's Frankenstein and it's Joe fucking mobster guy and it's, the Nazis and freaking whoever, right? And then it's like, and then their sidekick who's just this beautiful chick and they're recruited from somewhere and you're probably going to sleep with the celebrity at some point.
Well, also, the Navigator is just kind of a sidekick. Like, it's copying the theme and the persona. It's not like they have their own theme or persona. It's not like fucking Calamity Jane has a clown-themed Navigator.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like a tag team in wrestling.
Right.
It's just like a sidekick.
Well,
and the men who are Navigators for the women are kind of...
useless?
No, well, that too.
Yeah,
but they seem like they're not happy about it.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But this movie does have 2 female characters.
Two female leads, you mean?
Yeah, 2 female drivers in the race, which
sure.
is like, a lot of things back then would just have men, or even fucking Wacky Races only had Penelope Pitstop.
Oh, yeah. She was everybody's love interest.
Yeah.
What else?
Penelope Pitstop lived with the omnipresent threat of rape. There was just...
There you go again, Gary. There you go again.
He
just brings it up.
It's my fault.
He brings it up. He brings it up. But yeah,
you're right. I'm putting Mike down. You talk.
That's fine. Yeah. I don't know. Does it play funny? Did you when you look at the ratings? Do we like hit a rape joke and then everybody like, oh, are we gonna watch this again and again and again?
Russ, there was a time when I was worried about rape jokes. People love our rape jokes. It's the highest rated content. If we're not shoving in something where it doesn't need to go or shouldn't go.
You're the problem, people.
Yeah.
It's you. It's out there, the watchers.
Yeah.
You make this. Look what you've done to my poor Gary.
I was a sweet boy.
He used to be a sweet boy, and now
I started going on the internet.
Still on the internet, and now that's what they love.
And it changed me.
That's also my story.
That's really what's important about us as a generation, Russ, as millennials. We saw things on the internet as kids that were really bad.
Yeah, we shouldn't have. That said, those things are out there now, easy as ever to access. Right before we had to find some shit. We had to go into some deep internet.
But I think parents are more aware of it now. Like my
sure.
parents, my dad is a fucking Egyptian immigrant.
Okay,
he wasn't aware of the internet or keeping me from seeing that stuff.
No,
my mom didn't grow up with the internet.
Yeah, I mean, my parents were engineers and they did know. But
so your parents were the ones.
But I guess they didn't know. Yeah, no. My dad was like, all right, you ever see Tub Girl?
Yeah.
No.
Tub Girl was the cover of my brother's high school band's demo tape.
Oh my goodness.
Tub Girl was huge. I want to talk about the Navigators a little bit, Russ, because part of the allure of the Navigator and the Death Race is like sexual, and all the drivers, they have male or female Navigators, like the opposite sex.
You gotta be paired up.
Yeah. And the film implies that the Navigator is at least involved with the driver sexually, if not like in a relationship. So poor Annie Smith is in for quite a surprise when she realizes what kind of twisted stuff David Carradine likes to do sexually. Yeah. She thinks it's going to be a typical, intercourse type situation, but she's probably going to have to kick him in the nuts and, choke him a little bit and
put his balls in a board.
Look, he spent way too many years in Hollywood. Okay.
Yeah.
The stuff he needs is a little bit different than what you might think.
Oh man. You know what? That's essentially Hellraiser. At that point, why you
think Hellraiser is based off of David Carradine?
No.
And unbeknownst to Frankenstein, Annie Smith, his Navigator, is a plant from a resistance group led by Thomasina Paine, a descendant of the American Revolutionary War hero Thomas Paine. Yeah, this is
nice.
Smart writing, huh?
It's good.
Do I have to explain who Thomas Paine is, or did people get that?
Who is Thomas Paine?
Thomas Paine was an English-born American political activist, philosopher, political theorist, and revolutionary. He authored Common Sense and the American Crisis, 2 of the most influential pamphlets at the start of the American Revolution. And he helped inspire
Sounds
the...
like a cool guy.
This is a cool guy?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
America.
The resistance group plans to rebel against the corrupt government led by Mr. President. And the resistance group's plan is to sabotage the race by killing the drivers and taking Frankenstein hostage to use as leverage against the president. They want to trade Frankenstein for a permanent ban on the race. That's their plan.
Well, that's a nice idea because the race is crazy.
Yeah, and Annie is planning to lure Frankenstein into an ambush where he can be kidnapped and replaced with a double, which, considering his whole mask gimmick, would actually be pretty easy to make a double of him. Also, key to the plot.
Right. I think that you're breaking the story here.
So once Annie and Frankenstein are in the car alone, Annie asks to see Frankenstein's face, and he takes off his mask, revealing the mangled eye is just a prosthetic.
Right? Whoa!
Yeah.
It's not even. He doesn't even. His face looks fine.
Does it? Because what I love about this, it's like, oh, he's gonna pull off this thing and not be ugly anymore. I'm like, but his teeth, those are still just his teeth. I'm like, oh, are those teeth prosthetic? Is he gonna like pull off that busted grill?
No, they're real.
So as mentioned earlier, the drivers in the death race can win bonus points by killing pedestrians. And there's a scene where some nursing home employees position a group of elderly residents in the middle of the road directly in Frankenstein's path. And I guess babies, children, and the elderly are worth more points than like normal adults.
Yeah, there's a system too. Women are worth 10 more points than men. Teens are worth 40 more points.
Yeah.
The 70-plus crowd is worth like 100 points.
Yeah, and Frankenstein doesn't take the bait. He drives around the old people and kills all the doctors and nurses.
Yeah.
Which I guess is supposed to be like an act of mercy, but killing a crowd of doctors and nurses sounds kind of like a dick move.
But they were pushing those elderly out into the street.
They were.
To get
but now all these elderly people are just going to die alone in the nursing home without their caregivers. Like now it's just slow, torturous death. Right. They're just going to be in the road until they die.
Until they die.
Until somebody else comes along the path and hits them.
I probably would not, if I heard this death race is going on and it happens annually, that week, I'm not going out. I don't care how badly you need me at the office.
How about if you really want to win this race, just go find a school, fucking drive through that shit.
All that.
Yeah, you
Oh
won.
my God.
So Nero ends up being tricked by the resistance and blows himself up when he attempts to run over a bomb disguised as a baby. And this is all covered up by the government. Which also, like, aren't people watching this on TV? How did they cover up all this shit?
Well, that's why the old lady and the kids are actually like midgets and a man in a costume, you know, and the baby's a bomb. So then the driver thinks, I'm going to go hit this family, you know, with the baby. And the audience who's watching on weird white cameras held by guys in like butcher jumpsuits.
Yeah, but the government tells everyone that this isn't what happened. They like make it up an excuse. Aren't we watching this on TV? Are we listening to this on the radio in the year 2000? Which talk radio was huge in the year 2000. So it's like Howard Stern.
Yeah, right. And now with podcasts, but I guess it's video radio.
I guess it's video radio. But then don't people see that the resistance group is killing these drivers? They never really explain that. They never really show you the movie from the perspective of what you're seeing on TV.
Right.
It's kind of just like a plot hole, I guess.
Right. Maybe you wouldn't know that. You know the times because at some point, I will, you know, if we're talking about this type of race, I feel like this is a European thing, like type of race, right? You're doing it like across a countryside and it's to your own time. And
yeah, nobody's wearing deodorant.
Yeah, this feels very Grand Prix. And I don't know, some sort of. It feels like a European thing.
There's Nazis involved.
Right, exactly. You have a sidekick you're going to have sex with.
There's no consent needed to have sex. It's very European. So there's a scene where Grace Pander, the heavy-chested race announcer, does an interview with the widow of the first man who's run down in the race, and that's where Thomasina Payne interrupts the broadcast. Yeah, and man, Grace Pander is fucking stacked for an older woman.
Nice slip, Gary.
What did I say?
Grace Pounder. You pervert.
Yeah.
No, it's no, she's a babe. I mean,
she's not a babe, but she has huge breasts. Oh. She's just an older woman with huge breasts.
Come on, can't older women be babes, Gary?
I don't know. I feel like a babe implies youth, but maybe she's an older babe.
What if there was an older woman with like a great body?
Sure. I
mean, you know.
I'm not saying her body's great. I'm saying she has huge tits.
Oh, sure.
Distractingly so. And this isn't like she's wearing a bra. I don't think anyone's wearing a bra in this movie.
Why would you wear a bra?
It's the 70s.
It's the 70s.
The resistance disruption of the race is covered up by the government and instead blamed on the French, who are also blamed for ruining the country's economy and telephone system. And this is strange because I thought there was just the one government, but also kind of spot on because in the early 2000s, when this is supposed to take place, there was actually tension between the U.S. and France over the 2003 invasion of Iraq, which, you know, led to like the French did not support, and it led to like this kind of awkward period where we referred to French fries as freedom fries.
Oh my God.
French toast as freedom toast.
Did anyone ever call it that?
Definitely French fries for a little bit.
Did you order it as
no
freedom ever?
No. But I did execute my French bulldog,
Oh.
just out of respect for the service personnel of this country.
Sure.
Ironically enough, the bulldog's name was Freedom.
Oh, you're a good man, Gary.
There's a great scene where all the drivers and their navigators stop for a pit stop, and they're getting nude rub downs.
All of them just like have the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Just rubbing them down. It's and they're all nude. It's
Yeah.
great. There's some great bodies.
Some great nudity in this film, yeah.
Yeah.
And natural, because it's the 70s, so it's no like fake tits or anything.
Just all pure workouts.
Or not workouts.
Not
just
workouts.
fucking
Or-
70s fitness, you know?
Sure, yeah,
just don't eat.
Yeah.
Just don't eat, and hopefully you got big tits.
Yes. Have you ever had sex with someone really muscly? It's too much.
Yeah.
A muscly person is like, it's like hard. There's no like.
Is there- this
there's
sounds
no
like
like
there's a fun
give.
story
It's not
behind
like
this.
soft. No.
What muscle man did you have sex with?
Which muscle man did I not have sex with? Is a real question. Would be easy to
Did you
narrow
sleep
it down.
with a female bodybuilder? What happened?
Listen, it doesn't matter, Gary.
Okay. Did she have a massive clitoris?
I mean, not.
I thought it was a massive
more
clitoris. It was
labes.
actually a little
more
dick.
labes. More labes than.
Oh, so you really did have sex with a female bodybuilder. Russ, don't tease. Tell me the fucking story,
That's
dude.
no. I mean, I can't remember what everybody. I don't think she was a bodybuilder.
Oh, okay. Just a jacked chick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And skinny chicks are kind of the same. The skinnier you get, it's just like bones,
Lean.
and then it stabs you.
Where'd
if
you
you're
meet
going
the
at it,
jacked
it's just
chick? Was she taller than you?
Yeah.
Did she pick you up and carry you around?
Oh, that would have been cool though.
Oh, yeah. So Frankenstein walks into the little rub-down session, and he goes up to Machine Gun Joe's navigator and whispers in her ear just to, like, piss him off.
He's still in full outfit, by the way.
Yeah, he doesn't take it off.
Yeah,
He doesn't
everybody
get
else
rubbed
is
down,
completely naked, getting rubbed down by naked people, and he's walking in
Yeah.
all leathered up because
Yeah.
that's how he rolls.
And then Joe punches Louisa in the face. So actually kind of spot on for the behavior of a pro athlete in the early 2000s. Yeah. He hits women.
Yeah.
There's a scene with Frankenstein and Annie in their hotel room, or I guess it's supposed to be a hotel room. And there's just like, it looks like the hotel rooms in this movie are like the hall of a church or something, like a church basement. There's like huge exit doors behind them. Is that the future?
Yeah, dude, that's the future.
Yeah. Fire doors in your hotel room?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere's a fire door. Edit one onto the wall right here.
So in the hotel, David Carradine takes off his full body BDSM gear, and he has a seemingly normal body.
Right. For everyone.
It's not a good body, but it's not like, all fucked up and re-put together.
Right. Even though everyone, that's his selling point. He's like, my legs have been melted to the core, and they chopped off my left thigh and my right eyeballs.
So the whole Frankenstein thing is just a theatrical gimmick.
Exactly. I think that's what's up. It's
just like everyone else.
Just like his even his weird scar on his face.
And he has prosthetics. They all just look real. Yeah, like he does. He has.
Oh,
like,
he does
his
have
limbs and shit
Oh,
replaced,
that's
but they
true.
all look just like real arms.
Right, and he's not all.
And then,
sewn up.
and then with his very subpar face and average at best body, he seduces the lovely Simone Griffith by insinuating that he has a robotic or surgically enhanced penis.
Oh,
So-
well, that is the future.
Part of what I thought was so weird about this is like one of my earliest memories from the 90s was watching John and Lorena Bobbitt on the Howard Stern show.
Oh,
And,
yes.
he got his penis cut off and then he starred in a porno called Frankenpenis.
What? Wait,
You've never heard of Lorena and John Bobbitt?
I thought I did. I thought she
cut off his
she cut off his
penis.
penis,
Yeah.
and, like drove away, put it in a purse or something.
Yeah, I think she threw it in a playground.
Put it in a playground. That's fucked up.
It's terrible. Throw it around
Fucking-
kids. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, come on. There's
And
plenty-
if you become a sexual predator from pissing near a school, you should definitely become a sexual predator from throwing a
penis
severed
near a
penis
school.
into a playground.
Yeah, Jesus.
Then
They found his penis quick.
They found
rubbed
his
off
penis.
the dirt chips.
Yeah,
fucking wood
They
chips.
brought it to the hospital, and the doctor just kind of brushed off the wood
Hey,
chips.
a couple of kids sat on this by accident, and then we got a dog shit on it, chewed on it. But we got it back together.
They reattached the penis.
Oh my God.
And then John Bobbitt went on to star in 2 porno films, at least one of which was a Frankenstein-themed porno called Frankenpenis.
Wow.
And I believe that film was directed by Tim Burton.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They needed stop motion to make his dick look like it was working right,
Yeah, that was his project after Edward Scissorhands.
which also leads up. It's a prequel
Yeah.
Edward gets old enough to start jerking
Well,
off.
in the film, Edward Scissorhands is the one who cuts off John Bobbitt's penis.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah.
So it's kind of like a part of the cinematic universe that he's building.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Can you imagine the alternate universe where Tim Burton was the one who directed Frankenpenis? I kind of want to live in that world.
Frankenweenie?
Yeah, he made Frankenweenie.
He did make Frankenweenie.
That's the joke.
That's the joke there. Okay, cool. I'm just making sure I got it.
Yeah. So in line with being an exploitation film of the day, pretty much every actress in the main cast of Death Race 2000 appears topless. They really didn't skip with the topless scenes, and what's even better than all the frontal nudity is the movie has a lot of very tasteful butt shots. I enjoyed that.
Yes. Many
Very tasteful.
great butts across different people.
Somewhere along the way, the art of the butt shot was lost. I feel like this is a thing that you'd see in the 70s in James Bond movies, the girl on the bed with the butt.
Right, sure.
In the 80s, it was all about the tits and the big fake tits, and like it was always like a big build to like show the girl's tits. And
Sure.
this nudity is way more casual. It's just like there. It's not like, oh my God, she's gonna pull up her shirt.
Right.
Cut to a close up. So, Russ, the next plot element is the Frankenstein character kind of becomes more subversive as the film goes on. Yeah, Frankenpenis.
Yeah. Do you think? Wait. Not to
Not to harp on
that, but what do you think it does? Do we say it was ribbed? We decided it shakes. It swells.
Yeah.
It's all the above.
It'd be funny if like it's a
Spins around.
what his penis was enhanced to do is something that women don't enjoy. Like it's enhanced to come really quick so we can get back to the race.
It's always a race with him.
Yeah.
You know. I finished first.
No, this new quick model penis, I just put just one thrust. Yeah, just fill you with cum and I'm out of here.
And it's very small, so
Yeah,
you won't even feel it.
Very aerodynamic. It doesn't like hang out there and flap.
What does he do?
The character of Frankenstein is kind of becoming more subversive as the film goes on.
Yes, that's true.
He spares the lives of the elderly and kills the doctors. Then the deacon of the bipartisan party picks up his glove that he drops purposefully, and he murders this religious figure.
Right. That was.
And the people are so on his side, the government's just like, yeah, points.
Yeah, they were like, wait, is it worth points? It probably shouldn't be, but we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
So Frankenstein tests Annie by trying to get her to run over a child.
Right.
And she doesn't do it. This movie, it goes pretty hard, but it doesn't go that hard.
Yeah. And by the way, this kid. All right. This thing happens.
Rolling the wheel
this thing
down.
happened one time a year. Okay.
Why are all these people out on the road?
And so this kid, he's walking around in his shiny little shirt and his little suspenders, and he's like playing the wheel with a stick game like you used to do, I guess.
That's what kids used to do.
I don't know. Stand in the street, oblivious to a car, ripping down the highway at like 70 miles an hour, dressed like a big green dragon, ready to take my kneecaps out at any second. Jesus.
Yeah, the Toxic Avenger does a similar thing with like the sociopathic teens.
Right, yeah.
Driving and hitting pedestrians for points.
Yeah.
But they actually like hit kids and they do it with like full 80s gore. So it's like
they crush
very visceral. And now that I think about it, it seems like trauma movies are really just like Lloyd Kaufman continuing to make like 70s movies into the 80s and 90s. So next, Frankenstein, drugs Annie so she doesn't fuck with him.
Because he can't trust her.
There's the whole thing with the plane. This plane is a model, I guess, right? It had to be a model.
It's definitely RC play and then, composite.
Well, after the plane attack, Annie attempts to steer Frankenstein off the road, and he pulls over and reveals to her that he has a grenade installed in his hand and plans on using it to assassinate Mr. President.
A hand grenade.
Yeah.
Very.
That's the joke.
A hand grenade. That was too good.
Just a big grenade bulging out of his hand. You get it?
and he wants to win this race because he wants to shake hands with the president, you said.
Yeah.
With his hand grenade.
Yeah.
So he is trying to
assassinate the president.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why isn't his hand just an explosive device? Why doesn't he just have a grenade? I don't know. They really need to get that joke in there.
But it's got to be robotic, right?
Yeah.
Because
Excuse me, Annie, will you fix my hand grenade? Will you give me a hand job?
Don't get the ring stuck on you by accident.
Yeah.
Ding, you pull out the pin.
Well, no wonder he needs a navigator to have sex with. He's supposed to masturbate with this huge grenade in his palm.
Well, it's ribbed.
Surprising he can even drive the car.
Ribbed for his pleasure.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
That's weird, but it's still a robot hand, though, because he's still got to drive with. He's still got to do everything.
Yeah.
Except just grenade. In the palm. Big, clunky. You can't really hold the steering wheel well when you have a grenade in your palm.
Nope.
Nope. All right, Gary gets it. Yeah,
they had to get that joke in there. Hand grenade. You get it?
You think that's a joke, though? I mean, it's clearly a joke. It's got to be a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a pun. It's funny. Right after this scene, the race is down to Frankenstein and Machine Gun Joe, who are now racing neck to neck, and Annie tosses the hand grenade into Machine Gun Joe's car, basically securing the championship. Yeah. So that kind of ruins their plan.
Right. He still wins, so he still gets to shake hands with the president without a hand. So that's you're
shake
right.
stumps.
New plan.
Yeah.
He's got to shoot off his robo dick.
Yeah. And so now we're up to the ending of the film, and I find the ending to be kind of disappointing. Frankenstein sends Annie, disguised as himself, to shake hands with the president, and she is seemingly shot by her great-grandmother, Thomasina Payne. And then Frankenstein suddenly emerges like nude from under the front console and drives the car directly into the stage, killing the president. And then Annie pulls him from the wreckage. I guess her bullet wound wasn't too serious. Feels like they kind of fucking just got lazy. Like, all right, have him run the car into the stage and
smash. And
yeah, but who's going to go up as Frankenstein? Oh, have it be Annie, and she gets shot. Like, all right.
And that's how it ends?
That's how it ends. And then
that's how it ends, really. Just like she pulls him up from the wreckage, they walk up to the sun, they kiss. Oh, okay.
First, it just cuts to him, Frankenstein and Annie Smith. They're now married, and he's the president.
Right.
So just a happy ending.
Well, when you kill the president, you become the president, Gary.
Yeah.
That's just
that kind of makes sense.
Law,
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's the first Constitution.
The first Constitution.
First constitutional right.
First Amendment or something.
Yeah. One of those.
The little button on this is that Bruce Jr. steps in front of the car and pleads with the president to keep the race going.
Right.
He begs him. He says, we all love the violence. And then he gets
baby. I love the violence. Groovy.
There you go. Finally, we've got an Austin Powers impression in this episode. Yeah, so finally you see the announcer get his comeuppance. And he's the champion for senseless violence. And then he finally gets killed.
Beautiful.
And that's it.
Good.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of the sequels or the reboots, but...
oh, my God. They had other ones?
Yeah, but not until much later.
Okay.
I don't think they ever made a sequel until 2008.
2008?
Yeah.
What's the math on that? 25 plus 8. What's the math on that? 32?
Oh, man.
33?
It's so much fun. It was so much fun trying to watch you figure that out.
Yeah, 33 years later.
Quick, Russ. What's 25 plus 8? Think.
That's not.
Yeah, have you seen the sequels or the reboots?
No. I think I remember seeing the trailers for the Jason Statham one.
Yeah.
That's just called Death Race, though.
Just called Death Race, and I don't think it's the same characters or anything.
And it came out in 2008, not even 2000.
2008, yeah.
And then they made another one.
I think they made a sequel. It doesn't have Jason Statham.
For Netflix?
No, first they made a sequel. It doesn't have Jason Statham. They made like a Death Race 2. And then I think they made a Netflix one.
Death Race 2002 or just Death Race 2?
Death Race 2. It's just called Death Race 2008 one.
No, okay.
Why would it be called Death Race 2000?
Again?
Yeah.
Because they love doing that.
It's a retro movie. Yeah.
They love doing that.
Yeah, it takes place 8 years in the past.
Well, look at what's Blade Runner 2024, right?
No, I think isn't Blade Runner like 2049 or some shit? The new Blade Runner, it's like 2050.
No, it was 2025, right?
Yeah, but the one that was made before 2025.
The Ryan Gosling one?
Yeah, it's like 2050 or some shit.
Oh, is it 2049 maybe?
Something like that.
Okay. Do you think that's the future? Do you think?
Yeah, I think the future is 2050, Russ. Of course.
No, I don't believe it.
Now, Gary, the number's going to go back.
Death Race. You know what? I didn't give my rating of it. Mm-hmm. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5, Gary.
Oh, wow.
I'm giving it 4 out of 5.
4 stars.
I liked Death Race. I like how they did everything practically. They built some dumb cars and they drove them out in the thing. If you like wacky races, you'll like this thing. If you like Sylvester Stallone being like a mobster, you'll like that. If you like David Carradine being a weird Vader gimp, you'll like that. If you like boobs, butts, and like car chases, this is the movie.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
for sure, I don't feel bad recommending this one.